Welcome to USAFBL Fingerboard Podcast. I'm your host, Levine Cunningham, and I'm excited to be talking with Kaden. Kaden of Your Mom's Favorite Fingerboarder. Kaden, also known as Your Mom's Favorite Fingerboarder on Instagram. Kaden, welcome to the podcast. How you been?
What's up, man? Been pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Excited to have
Sweet.
this episode.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm super excited.
Man, all right. So for people that don't know who you are more of a up and coming fingerboard
Yeah.
deck maker, and you got a history of having some very unique fingerboarding graphics. So I'm excited to get into this episode for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I it's been a long road, but yeah, I got all kinds of weird stuff, funny stuff, kind of vulgar to a point stuff.
That's what I kind of like about like what you got going on because like some people like to try to keep it classy, and then you got some people that kind of like to tiptoe on the edge there a little bit.
Yeah, that's more my speed.
Yeah, I feel that. I like it. So I'm excited. We're gonna get into it for sure. We've got an
Heck yeah.
episode for you guys today. First off, if you guys have made it this far, finger the like button. Also, if you are watching this or listening to this on our Patreon account before anybody else, thank you for all the love and support and getting that early access on our Patreon account. And we've still got combo of the year, line of the year going down. So submit your clips at USAFBL underscore COTY and USAFBL LOTY. I believe I have one sanction event left this year, this calendar year going down. We got Toronto, Six Gates hosting that on November 9th. And then we've got Dallas, Texas hosting their sanction event going down
Busy.
November 16th. That's with Phoenix FB. So go check out those events, go attend, go get that. And then it's getting cold out. We've got all kinds of winter gear on our website as well. We got USFBL hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, sweatpants. Get cozy. With all that said, man, Kaden, thanks for coming on the
What's
podcast.
going
And
on?
I'm looking at looks like a shed, but I think you said it's a fingerboarding shed.
Yeah, it's my buddy calls it the shred shed.
The
So
shred shed. I like
that's
that.
where all the work gets done.
I like that. The shred shed. It'll have a
Yeah.
cool name for my spot. I got a garage, so
My other buddy calls it the she shed, but that didn't match me too well. So I was like, shred shed sounds better.
shred shed is perfect. Perfect.
Yeah,
You should,
just recently got that actually.
yeah, you need to copyright that.
Yeah, the shred shed, put it on
Yeah,
the
the shred
front.
shed. Yes, yes.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
neon sign. So where are you located out of?
I'm basically in Central Florida, about 45 minutes north of Orlando
Okay.
in a small little country town called Umatilla. I'm in the woods right now. It's in the middle of the woods on a dirt road. So kind of out in the sticks, but nice and quiet. Not too far from bigger areas like Orlando and stuff, but
Gotcha. So you're still alive and kicking after the hurricanes and stuff.
oh
So
yeah, it didn't get us too bad. It Some rain, some wind, but nothing to complain too bad about. Some people got it a lot worse. So
no, no doubt. The media's been having a field day with all the coverage and stuff. So I'm just glad everybody
yeah,
out there is safe. I'm glad you guys are safe as well.
for sure. Thank you, man.
Yeah. I know that we spoke real briefly too. I think the last time we met was the Port City Fingerboarding Crew event in Wilmington.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I think that was the first time we've met, right? That was,
I want to
I
say
think
so. Have you been to a
we've
USFBL
talked.
fingerboarding event?
I don't think so.
And that
No,
was
I
our first
haven't.
time. Okay.
Yeah, I know we've talked before that briefly, but I think that was our first time shaking hands. So
Gotcha. Yeah,
yeah.
we met in person. That event, by the way, that event was a lot
Oh
of
my
fun.
goodness. Yeah, it was. That's my third time going. Well,
To
the first
their
one I don't think was the fingerboard jam technically, but
You went
this,
to the sesh what was it
yeah,
calling
yeah.
it? I can't
Was it
remember the
called the
name.
Port City Sesh or something?
No. So I went to the very, very first one, which was theoretically he made a bunch of parks for us for the tour for season one, and then he had a
Okay.
fingerboarding meetup basically, since they're all going to be in one place. And so I'm like, why don't we just throw it out on meetup and stuff? And so I picked up, I want to say like five of his fingerboarding parks. And so we had a sesh out in a park. I wish I had more data on this off the top of my head. It's so long ago, but yeah, that was like theoretically the very, very first one. And then he did a second one, which I ended up not making. And then I believe the next one was like a Port City crew event.
Maybe that's what I made it to, and it was at the local skate park. Yeah, it was outside at a local skate park, and it wasn't like too big, but it wasn't small either. And
Was it like in the treed area and all that?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, you went to the second one that I
Okay.
didn't go to. So we just barely missed each other then. That's crazy.
Nice. Yeah.
And then the
Yeah, I
next
went to
two were
that
the
one.
Port City ones. Yeah.
And then it turned into the big one. So, and
Hmm.
then even the first fingerboard jam, it was big. It's the biggest event I've ever been to, personally. And I was a little overwhelmed. I mean, not in a bad way, but I was just like mind blown with how many fingerboarders came together. And
It was impressive. I want to say it's
yeah,
getting
so
to the point. Have you been to Rendezvous?
no.
Okay, that so the Port City crew event is starting to linger into the numbers like Rendezvous is
Yeah.
getting. Like
And that's impressive.
yeah, it's impressive and it's also exciting because, when you're talking large scale events, like you're talking about like, Rendezvous, Fingerboarding Con, now you got Port City Crew,
Yeah.
USAFBL events. And so like it's very exciting now that like more and more of these events are popping up all over the place now.
Yeah, definitely. And then I feel like, I mean, I haven't been to other ones, so I can't really compare, but a lot of people came from a lot of different directions to the fingerboard jam, and which is just crazy to me that people travel as much. I mean, it's not crazy to me because I'm a fingerboarder, but in the big scale, it's just crazy that that many
It
like-minded
is.
hobbies.
If for someone that like, if you don't regularly go to events, like you'll be amazed how far people will go shred on something new. And I
Yeah,
think
right.
that's really like where the big draw is. And at least for me, like I've been fingerboarding off and on for a very, very long time. So like if I have the ability to go shred something new, like we will travel great distances to like go meet up
Yeah,
with people and go shred something new. And so we're kind of chasing that high a little bit, I think. At least
yeah,
for me,
definitely.
like, that's the thing that like makes, really excited when like I hear like there's an event that got like 10 parks, 15 parks, 20 parks. I'm like, dude, that's a lot of new stuff to shred. Like it
Yeah,
gets me
dude.
excited. Like I'm like, I gotta go.
When I first went to the fingerboard jam, I walked into the warehouse and was completely like a kid in a candy shop. I only spent like 30 seconds on each park. I just felt like I had to go, on each. I had to go test each one real quick. I was like, man, this is insane. And because I'm used to just like I've built my own little parks, nothing like quality wise, but just made out of what I can. And but when you go use super quality good stuff, it's such a different feeling. It's just
No, definitely. Dave Ware, Warehouse Rams, man, makes top tier parks. Like
yeah.
that stuff is, I mean, it's in the league. It's I wouldn't say like a league of its own, but it's definitely in the conversation of like Tiny Ramco and like Dark Matter and Black
Oh
River
yeah.
Parks and like definitely the top dogs for sure. Like if you're gonna
Yeah, for
have
sure.
a park making conversation, like he's got to be in there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure.
Man, all right. So you're out of Florida, safe and sound from the hurricanes, which is cool. Tell us a little bit about your like just the fingerboarding scene in general. Like I know Yuck is out there in Orlando, but I don't really know too much else that's kind of happening in that area.
Really, I'm kind of a slack when it comes to expanding my knowledge on the local scene. Yuck is basically all I've gone to. I went to the higher up event that was sanctioned. I
Okay,
went to
yeah.
that one, but that was like 3 hours from me, and so I don't consider it local. It's just, I mean, 3 hours isn't bad, but it's not something that I can just drive to. Yuck is only about 35 minutes from me. So that's local. I can get there every time pretty much for an event, or just if I want to just go shred on the weekend, it's easy just to go. So basically all I have gone to is the higher up event, and then I go to Yucks literally whenever I can.
Yeah, you're
Um,
fortunate to have like a storefront that you can just like, I need a pair of trucks. Like,
yeah, well, right.
let me
Yeah.
just swing over real quick and go grab some
Yeah.
same
It's
day, no
so cool.
problems. Yeah, I'm kind of jealous. That's nice.
It's super convenient. Like if you have a flawed pair of trucks and you need, I mean, I guess you don't need them, but if you want a pair tomorrow, it's more than likely that Indy over at Yuck will have them in stock, and then you just go pick them up. And it's cooler to buy them in person. You can look at them, and it's pretty cool.
No, definitely. I always make jokes like where you're like, yeah, you can't just pick these up at Walmart, but like for you, like it's like going to
Yeah,
Walmart. Like you just go and go
exactly.
get them. Like, and so that argument now is no longer really like a thing with you. So that's awesome.
He brings in a lot of local people to his events, and I've met tons of friends. I'm in like a strictly Florida group on Instagram and stuff, and it's just like there's more people than I even thought were around here in that group, and most of them have been to Yuck for an event, so it brought a lot of people together, which is super cool.
He's been doing
Yeah.
his thing, Indy with Yuck Skate Shop, man. He's definitely putting on for the Florida community and definitely
Oh
bringing
yeah.
everybody together for sure. So huge shout out to him. So have you skateboarded in the past? Is that something you kind of gotten into? Or are you a fingerboarder
Yeah,
only?
when I was younger, I'm only 26 now, and I skated pretty much since my dad bought me a skateboard when I was like 11 years old, and skated. I was never like a great skater. I had some basics down, but I like the lifestyle of skating more than I liked actually skateboarding myself because I wasn't too good at it. My coordination isn't the greatest when I'm on a skateboard, and so but yeah, I've skated. And then in 2020, I went skating with my buddy after work, and I broke my foot, and that kind of spiraled the fingerboard life for me because I was like, you know what, if you could just do it with your hands instead of breaking bones, I'll just stick to that. So that's
I feel
basically when it
that.
all started.
I am That's like my biggest fear. Like I kind of want to get into skateboarding. I'm a poser if anybody hasn't really like basically keeping up with the podcast, but I'm a fingerboarder only. My parents wouldn't let me skate, which I mean, I don't have any broken bones or anything, so I guess I'm fortunate in that
Right.
aspect, but definitely missed out on the whole like go out and do gnarly stuff like portion of
Yeah.
the whole like,
I think it
journey.
I think it takes a different kind of breed to be able just to fall real hard and just get back up and do it. Like I respect it for sure. And but it was never for me. Like every time I fell real hard or I was just ready to go home. I didn't want to do it again. I was like, all right, one's enough for me. I don't want to do it again. So
That's
call it a
where
poser or whatever, but I uh I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
stick
where
with
I'm
skateboarding.
at. Like I tried to do like basic ollies and stuff, and like I fell
Yeah.
back and landed on that wrist, and pretty sure I bruised it really, really bad. Maybe
Yeah.
sprained it, maybe a little bit, but I mean, I was out for like 5, 6 days. Like
Oh
I feel like
yeah.
it was a little bit longer actually, more like a week, week and a half, because it like
Oh yeah.
it swelled, like it was bad. But I was just like, man, like I'm just not built for that. I'm old now. I'm 38, so I'm just like the allure of it now is kind of going away, especially after that
Right.
incident. So that's crazy. All right. So is there like a lot of skate parks, things going on out there? Any real like spots?
I
Anything crazy
live
to
in
report on?
Umatilla. I live in Umatilla, and the next town over is called Eustis, Florida. And they have a really nice skate park. I mean, it's not like huge, but it's a nice like straight run of street style skating. They got a pool too, but it's off on its own, so it's not like part of the skate park. It's just a different entity of the skate park. But the skate park itself is a decent run, straight run, and there's you start on the quarter, and then there's a bunch of other stuff as you go along, and that's a super good park. Some good skaters go there. So, and then the Ocala skate park is okay. There's actually quite a few around here. Not super close to me. The closest one, like I said, is in Eustis, but there's a handful of them around here for sure. There's an inside one in Orlando, and that one's pretty cool. You got to pay to get into that one though, but it's a pretty cool one. I don't know. There's a few for sure.
Any epic like street skate spots?
I probably couldn't think of them right off the top of my head, but I know there is some around here.
Well, I ask that now more than ever, just because like I'll see spots in like skate videos without really knowing where they're at. And some people will
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, dude, like there's this 1997 Eric Costin part that like is literally like 20 minutes down the street from me." And I'm
Oh,
like, "Oh,
sweet.
snaps." I'm like, "Okay." And so like, because when you're filming all these skate clips and stuff, it's not like they're tagging like where the spot is. And
Yeah.
so
Right.
like
Right.
but the locals, if you know kind of a thing. And so like I'm starting to get more aware of like where all these little spots are. Obviously, most of these are in California, Los Angeles area,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But you'd be surprised where, there might be a spot or two where someone else that got some cool stuff on. I know that you've been doing some fingerboarding event hosting yourself.
Yeah. I did, or UMFFB homie sesh is what I called it.
Yeah.
I did the first one, which is kind of just like a teaser. I invited like a couple homies from Yuck, and I think 10 people showed up, and it was still successful. Like it was super cool. I had 10 people. I did it at my house, and 10 people showed up and we just hung out all day. And then I was like, you know what? That one did pretty good. I want to host a real one and have sponsors and do giveaways and contests and whatnot. So I did number two, UMFFB Homie Shesh number two. And I think total, which I didn't get an actual count, but it was upwards to 50 people showed up, where there was like 28 cars in my yard. There was like 50 people on my porch. There was people brought their own parks. There was like 18 parks at my house.
That's
We did a
awesome.
raffle. We did game of skate, all the basic stuff. We did
Yeah.
that. And then my girlfriend made a bunch of little sandwiches and I supplied water and stuff. And it was just a super great time. And I actually haven't announced it yet, but I will since we're on the podcast and it's a special occasion. I have
Ooh.
I started planning the next one for this March, this coming March. So I'm hoping this one will be a lot bigger. And I learned a lot from the second one, having that many people and stuff at your actual house, which I don't have any problems with anyone in the scene, but it's always kind of sketchy at your own house,
Yeah. Yeah.
having that many people. So I learned a lot from it, which I'll probably do it here again, but there's just few this time I'll probably rent porta potties. Learned a lot, and then like the food situation, drink situation. So there's a couple things that I'll do differently. But other than those little things, it was a super big success. So I definitely want to keep it like an annual thing, at least annually. If not more. I'd like to do it more, but it's a
No, that's
lot.
awesome.
It's a lot to do.
Trust me, I get it
Yeah.
completely. Like especially with the tour and stuff. Like
Oh yeah.
there's a learning curve for sure. Like hosting your first two or three events, like the learning curve is obviously pretty steep, but like
Yeah.
you'll eventually realize like, oh, instead of, we weren't expecting a huge turnout, so you weren't really sure how to like kind of like, you know, handle like that many people and
Yeah.
different facilities was like
Exactly.
probably something you weren't even thinking about and stuff
Yeah, I
like that.
didn't.
And so you kind of slipped your mind. So you're like, oh, let me rent a porta potty. Oh, let
That's
me
how it was when the first person asked me, "Can I use the bathroom?" I was like, "Oh." I was like, "That's something I should have thought about." So everyone, not everyone, but most of the people ended up having to go in and use the restroom, which is fine.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not going to make you hold it all day. It's just I don't want to make my girlfriend feel all weird, people coming in and stuff like that. And I got children, and so next time there'll be two porta potties, men and women porta potties, and just this little stuff. I didn't do nothing too bad, too wrong. So
No, it sounds like it was a great time. I respect the fact that you're humble enough and you're available to, kind of host it and stuff at your house. Cause like I got trust issues, man. Like I don't
yeah.
know if I could swing that. My anxiety would just be kind of through the roof. Just I don't
Oh,
even
I
know if I like
was
people knowing where I live type stuff. So the
the
fact that
night
you're
before
all about it, I respect it.
I was second guessing for sure. I was like, I don't know, which I did. I also did not expect 50 people to be there. I was like, man, I'll be surprised if half of that show up. People just kept coming in, and I was like, oh man. So, it was great. Nothing happened, nothing bad, nothing even to complain about. But the night before, like I was saying, I was really nervous. I didn't sleep too good. I was like, oh man, hopefully this goes well, and it did. It went super well. Everyone was super nice.
No, that's awesome. So my observations are is that people that are willing to like travel and like go fingerboard and things like that, those people are like truly, truly passionate. And I want to go out on a limb, basically say like those people are usually like the best of people. Like they
Yeah,
have great intentions. They're there to have a great time. Like, and I'm not saying that there's not bad people out there, but my observations are is people that like to travel, go out and go fingerboard, go hang out, stuff like that. Those are tend to be like the best fingerboarders that you
yeah,
can
I
eventually
agree.
be around.
I have more fingerboard friends now, or more friends from fingerboarding than I do like actual friends,
Hmm.
than I do like real life friends anymore. So I've met a lot of genuine, really good people through doing this. Really, I haven't really met any bad one yet. So knock on wood, but
Yeah, knock on
everyone
wood.
that I've met is super cool.
No, that's where I'm at. Pretty much all of my friends are either fingerboarders or people I play now Black Ops 6 with. So if
Oh
you
yeah,
are
sweet.
you play BO6, man, like hit me up, Ride King on Xbox. So
Heck yeah.
that's pretty much where all my friends are. We're either fingerboarding or we're literally just capping people in video games. So
Yeah, heck yeah.
either way, it's always a good time. So that's
That's right.
95% of my friend group. So that's it's gotten to the point now where I think as you age, like either people have to align with things that you love, or they just eventually kind of
Yeah.
they just
Drift
wane the
apart.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's basically I have a couple OG homies from like high school and whatnot that we're still close, but I kind of my life is revolving around fingerboarding basically
Hmm.
now, and they could care less about it, which I still love them to death, but most of my time goes toward fingerboarding now, and they don't want to put in their time for that, so we don't hang out as much anymore, which is fine though, we all got lives.
And
But it would be
interesting
cool.
things, but
It would
yeah.
be cool if everyone was into it, but it just doesn't work like that. So
I know. I wish we could just like flip a switch and like
yeah.
people just like, dude, I woke up one day and just I have to go fingerboard. I don't know why. I don't even have a
Yeah,
board, but I gotta find one and we gotta do
I
it.
got
Like,
the itch.
yes, yes. So let's talk about the brand, your mom's favorite fingerboarder.
Yeah, let's do it.
Where did the name come from? Like, did you come up with it? Someone give it to you? Like, you
Yeah,
get inspired? Like, I'm interested to hear the history behind this.
obviously your mom jokes or have always been a big thing. And I know they're kind of cliche and they're just old school, your mama jokes. They're just something that's been around. You do your brainstorming, you're like, what could I call this? What could I call this? And also my mom has a big part of it too, because I've always been crafty, made stuff with my hands, just projects and anything I could really do. And she's always been super supportive of it, of anything I've ever made. Or she has a box at her house full of 5-year-old crafts, 7-year-old crafts, all the way up to how old I am now. So she's always been supportive of anything I've ever made. And so those two together, being funny old school jokes, and then my mom supporting it, I was like, you know what? Your mom's favorite fingerboards would be a great name, and it's proven to be. Everyone thinks it's funny. I go to events and people don't even really know my name; they just call me your mom, and I think that's the funniest thing ever. So it was kind of just like I brainstormed it for a little bit, and then it just hit me. I was like, you know what? It's going to be called your mom's favorite, and then kind of just took off. It stuck. No one ever complained or anything. So
No, I love it. Every time I like read it or see it, it just always puts you in a good mood. I don't know why. It
yeah,
just
I appreciate it.
takes you back to a time where things were simple and you
Right,
just
right.
say stuff and there was always love behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us the story. I guess give us the when you got into fingerboarding, how you got into fingerboarding, and then when you got into making the brand.
So, like I said, I went to work. I used to skateboard with my buddy Griffin, like every day after work, and he was a way better skater, and he's the one who would always talk me into going skating. He's like, I would ride to work with him, and he's like, oh, we're gonna hit the skate park before we go home, blah blah blah. So we would go to the skate park, and I would just do little shredding or whatever, and he would actually go skate and do cool stuff, and I would kind of just roll around, do a couple flip tricks, couple ollies, whatever. And well, one day I was feeling pretty ballsy, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna board slide that. I'm gonna front board that whole rail. I went hauling tail through the skate park, getting some good speed up, and I popped up on the rail, and it pretty much shot out from under me, and I fell right on my foot, and that's when my foot broke, and I was down and out after that for I don't even know 3 months before I could actually put pressure down on it and step with it. And but in between the time of healing, I've always liked skateboarding in general, everything about it, watching other people skate, me trying to skate, everything about it. And so I broke out some tech decks that I had when I was healing, and me and my girlfriend lived in a tiny little apartment, and I started flicking it around. I still have old clips on my Instagram that I archived that are just really horrible clips of me trying anything I could do. I broke the tech decks out, and I've always had tech decks. I don't, as far as I can remember, my mom and dad would buy them for Christmas and birthdays or whatever. So I always liked them. Never really until like middle school, I never really started doing tricks with them, but I always just had them. And then when I broke my foot, I realized that there was a whole community of people who did flip tricks and recorded clips. So I started trying to do that, and I was nowhere near as good as I am now by any means. But it kind of just stuck with me. It's like the thing that I've stuck with more than anything else. Like it just clicked for me. Um, So I was doing that while I was healing up. Like I said, I realized that there was a lot of other people that did it. I wasn't working at the time because my foot, and so I didn't have a lot of money to spend on a quality fingerboard. I was just rocking tech decks. And then I seen a punk fingerboards mold kit on Amazon. And I was like, you know what? I could either spend 70 bucks on that or 70 bucks on one little setup. Why don't I just buy the mold and I'll just start making my own? So that's what I did. Got that, and then pressed. My first couple were horrible, obviously. I didn't even know much about it at all. Then I just used that mold basically until it broke on you because it's just a 3D printed mold, which I'm not shooting them down. It was a great mold. I used it a lot though. Yeah, I was just making, and I, like I said, I've always been pretty crafty, so it came pretty naturally. I mean, they weren't the best at first, but I realized I understood the process of it. So that's basically how it started. And then I found the Facebook group, and then I realized people buy them. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna post some for sale, And if you find, you could probably find the older ones on the Facebook group if you search them up and search back far enough. They're bad. Um,
But I like the graphics of the older ones. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, well, that's cool. And well, that's just trying to think. Like at first I did like customs,
I remember the
um,
custom days.
but it wasn't really custom. It was kind of just like people wanted the image, like the element, wind, water, fire logo. So I would just put that on there, and then you call it custom. And that's basically what I did for a long time. And then I started like I wanted more of my own feeling into it, I guess. I don't know how to word it, but I was like, man, I could probably do my own graphics. People would probably still buy them if I did my own instead of just ripping off Element or ripping off the Cardinals baseball team and just putting other people's stuff on there. So there was a kid in the Facebook group that I met, and he made my first graphics. I can't remember his name, man. It was so long ago, but he made some of the first ones.
With the grandma and all that.
Actually, the grandma came later. That's Dave Ware actually made the your mom's.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, Dave Ware designed that for
Nuh-uh.
me.
Shout
Yeah.
out to him.
So shout out to him for real because that's like my main logo now.
Now I know those are the graphics I love. I'm like, man, I love those old
But
graphics.
even before those, I had some random. I think there was a light bulb with like a brain coming out of the light bulb that a kid drew for me, and then a worm, a couple other weird ones that I really liked. I used them for a couple things, and they never really took off. And I've also been like big on themes, and I was like a light bulb with a brain and a worm that doesn't really go with the your mom's theme. So then I think me and Dave started talking, and I didn't even ask Dave for that logo. He just sent it to me one day, and he's like, "I was just messing around. What do you think about this?" And I was like, "Oh, mind blown." I was like, "Dude, you just started my theme, dude. That's what I'm gonna go with." And the old lady clip art that he used has became like my theme. That's so really big shout out to Dave for uh starting something real big for me. So
That's awesome how stuff like that
yeah,
just kind of
it is
happens
crazy.
and stuff. Yeah. For me, my Dave Ware is Brian OMG. So that's my Dave Ware. But yeah, he's
Heck yeah.
coming up with all kinds of cool stuff. And I'm like, bro, like this is legit. I like it.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And then I've done my own little stuff here and there. Like I've cut out magazines before and used those as graphics. All kinds of stuff, man. If I go way back, I can't even remember it all. I put all kinds of stuff on a fingerboard.
I've
Um,
been following you for quite some time. I
oh
know you're
yeah.
talking like, the Facebook groups. I know, probably my groups, the Fingerboarding Unlimited group with Cody Mexico and stuff. Like I've been keeping tabs on everything for since 2020, really. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
well that's basically when it started. That
yeah.
was the beginning of it all. So
So
that's
I've
cool.
been kind of,
You've been here the whole time.
yeah, I know. I've been literally watching people literally start from nothing and grow into like bigger fingerboarding brands, more household names. Think like I've been watching a lot of people's journeys like through the
Yeah, that's
entire like
cool,
period
man.
of time. And it's crazy kind of looking back and be like, dude, I remember when you were dropping these graphics and like I remember when people were doing this and were doing that. And
Right.
people literally were just asking around and be like, what do you guys think of if someone was to do this? And like, the community is all kind of like bouncing ideas and stuff. And the next, 6 months later, they're like, oh, I popped out with a new prototype this. And I'm like, that's
Yeah,
awesome. Like, yeah, just seeing people just go from curiosity to like an actual like prototype to 2 years later, like, hey, I've got a fairly solid fingerboarding business now. Like just
right.
seeing that whole growth and relationship is crazy.
That's how like it's hard to look back on everything and see how far you've really came. Like now I consider myself a pretty not like popular, but pretty known. Because when I go to like events and stuff, everybody like they're like, "Oh, you're your mom," blah blah blah, and
Mhm.
that's crazy to me. It's just I never would have thought. I mean, I'm not super far now, but I would never would have thought it would have became what it is already.
It's all about
It's cool.
persistence and being consistent, and just
Yeah,
putting in the work every week, every month, every year, and just continuously doing it. And like
that's
when you
right.
do that, like that traction will eventually catch up. Like you may not see it in the beginning, but 6 months from now, a year from now, like you might go somewhere and like half the people know who you are. And that's a huge deal to some people. Like
Yeah,
to go from
it's
like
crazy.
being in a room where you don't really know anybody to being in a room where everybody knows you. Like it's a huge kind of eye opener for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. That's when I first started going to the Yuck events. I kind of was a no, not a nobody, but no one knew me locally at all. And then I met Indy, and now when I go there, everyone daps you up, everyone's giving hugs, everyone. I know everyone, everyone knows me. It's super cool, and it's refreshing. You feel like your progress is paying off, I guess, and that's cool because there's times where and I'm sure it goes along with every other creator doing everything. That there's
Mhm.
sometimes when you're like, oh, screw, I don't want to do this no more. When you go to an event and people, it kind of brings you back. You're like, oh, maybe I will stick with it. Maybe I will keep doing it. So
I do that a lot. I try to go to as many events as possible because the burnout is real. Like
yes,
people don't realize like we are passionate about what we do, yes, but like if you do it like for me, like I do stuff every single day, 7 days a
yeah,
week, every month, every year. And I've been doing this now since literally 2020. So we're going into like 5 straight years of all you do is fingerboarding. And like, I'm not even gonna lie, like going to events and just getting that, like, just having people kind of like hype you up and just like getting that breath of fresh air back, it's nice. And there's nothing better than getting over burnout than going to a fingerboarding event, just like
yeah,
having people like give you feedback and telling you what they're doing and just kind of collaborating ideas and thoughts and fingerboarding tricks and clips and all kinds of cool stuff. Like I live for that stuff.
yeah. It's like you said, the burnout is real. There's times where I'm kind of in. I'm not burnt out right now, but I pressed a lot of stuff before that fingerboard jam event and brought a lot of stuff. And since I've been back, it's been what, 2 weeks now, 3 weeks almost. Um, I haven't pressed a thing. I'm kind of just taking a chill time right now. So I wouldn't say I'm burnt out at this time. I'm not burnt out, but I am taking a break. I'm not uh, in a rush to do anything. If somebody wants something, I just tell them to give me some time.
Sometimes that weekend or that whole week or even a couple weeks away, it just gives you you got to recharge your batteries.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Definitely. All right. So if someone was going to buy a deck from your brand, kind of walk us through the buyer's guide. So like walk us through the molds, what the differences are, the shapes, sizes that you guys offer, things like that.
For sure. So I don't have a mold guide made yet, which is my fault. I should have this made because what I have going on is kind of confusing. Because I have like four different molds and multiple different shapes for certain molds and whatever. So I don't have like a actual picture or anything posted of my thing. So it's kind of like if you know, you know, which is not really that great. It kind of deters people. Um,
Well, this is your
but
chance to set the
but
set
yeah,
the record straight.
right
Let's
now,
like yeah.
right now I have the Sugar Mama V1, which is a low concave, low kick mold, very mellow. And that was kind of what I started with. I got it through Doe Fingerboards. I got the mold made, my specs or whatever. That's what I used for a long time. I didn't really have anything else, and that was the Your Mom's Favorite Fingerboards mold. And then Marcus Kramer had a what I call the MILF mold now that he didn't like. So I bought that from him, and that's another mold that I use all the time. And that is it's also mellow kicks and concave, but the wheelbase is shorter and it's only in 34 millimeter. I meant to say on Sugar Mama V1, there's 26 all the way to 37 millimeter.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the MILF mold is only 34. And it's really probably my least popular mold because of how it's super mellow. It's hard to get used to, and I'll even admit that it's hard to use if you're not used to really mellow stuff. But then that one came next. Oh, now I have the Sugar Mama V2, basically the same thing as the V1, just higher kicks and deeper concave. So it's like a low. The Sugar Mama V1 is the low, Sugar Mama V2 is the medium, and then eventually there'll be a V3, which would be a high. But I'm not at that point yet. And then I have Burnt Bushings mold, which is a team rider of mine on Instagram. His name is Burnt Bushings. And he designed a mold because he wanted to ride for my brand, but he wasn't completely feeling my mold, which is fine because I wanted him on the team. He's actually a close homie. He's a super cool guy. I was like, man, we got to figure out a way to keep you on the team, man. I want you to want to use what I make. And he's like, what if I design a mold and it'll be, my signature specs and it'll be my team rider mold, He designed one. I think he got it through Brewski.
Okay.
Um, and they're his specs. And it's got a mellow to medium concave like in between there. And then a short tail, a longer nose, and then pretty, not super steep, but medium kicks, steeper than my other stuff. He designed that one, and I pressed the boards for him, and I also sell them as well as a team rider mold, so people can
Hmm.
buy his specs. Actually, I've got nothing but good feedback on that mold, so that's cool.
It
Um,
sounds interesting. I kind of want to try it as well. I'm like, huh.
It's
Oh,
that one's only 32 millimeter at the moment. I have plans
okay.
on getting other shapers, but it's just a whole hassle doing all that. So I haven't done it yet.
No, I understand that grind is real.
But yeah, man, and it just gets confusing. I do have a lot more, I think, than I should. For me, it gets a little overwhelming having so many different things to keep up with. But
Mhm.
I'm kind of stuck in it now. I don't want to take anything away from the brand. Not at the moment, anyway. Maybe eventually we can kind of push one out, and more than likely, and I'm just gonna say now, it doesn't mean it's set in stone, but the MILF mold will probably slowly get pushed to the side because it's not really a popular mold, which I get it. I really don't even. I'm
I
not a big
mean,
fan of it.
when
So
you're talking like that kind of mellow, I mean, you're talking about people that are into really technical tricks because you don't get a very good pop off of those. And
yeah,
so, I mean, when you're talking like, people are like, oh, how do you do a kickflip back tail? I'm like, if you have a mellow board, like a kickflip back tail is a lot easier to do.
right,
But, a lot of people, they're not, I'm not saying that like, they're not technical, but I mean like we're talking about like people that are just like that's all we do is just the technical wizardry type
right.
stuff. Most people are shredders, they just shred everything. And so when you're looking at like a mellow mold, like you're really kind of restricting yourself as to what you can and can't do.
I think so too. It's and this one's really mellow. It's just it's too mellow, really. It should. I mean, you can use it. It takes a while to get used to. I It's only in a 34, but I hand shaped the one down
Hmm.
to a 29, I think it was. Or it was like 29.5 or something like that. You can get used to it if you only use that for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
Because if even if you try something else, then it's going to feel even lower than it is. Because so that one will probably slowly hit the road. But
I mean, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I mean, there's not a lot of people that offer, mellow molds and stuff like that. So if there is a mellow mold enthusiast out there, like
well, right,
there's probably maybe 10 companies that offer a really mellow mold like that. So
right.
it's not like, finding just any deck. Like you're looking for a very specific company, very specific brand, very specific mold. So I don't know if
Yeah,
I get rid of it, but I'm just saying like, if you've got it, I'd probably hold on to it,
it
especially if
might
it's high
get
quality.
it might yeah. It's a I'm actually not. I can't remember who made it, but it is an aluminum mold.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
would definitely hold on to that.
it might just get pushed to the side more or
Yeah,
less,
yeah.
not getting rid of, but maybe like super rare drops or something like that.
Hmm.
But yeah. So, because I still do have a lot of love for it. It's one of the ones I started with, so I don't really want to get rid of it. I just wish the popularity of it was more, but I understand why it's not, you know.
That's where we're at too, because we've got symmetrical nose and tail decks that, the brand is making, and that's what I like. And so I would love to just be making stuff based off of what I think other people are, but at the same time, you kind of got to stay a little bit true to yourself as well.
Well,
So
right.
like,
And if you're making what you like, you're probably better at making it, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And so that's what I like, and so that's what we're producing. I know a lot of people like to do the whole skateboarding feel where, the nose is a little bit longer than the tail and yada yada yada. And so that it gives it more of that skateboarding feel. But yeah, we're symmetrical type stuff, and we're just kind of building what we
I
like.
see
And
I see a lot the fully symmetrical boards are getting more and more popular though.
well, that's what I was raised on. I was raised on Tech Decks. I think almost everybody was raised on Tech Decks, and those are all
Right.
symmetrical nose and tail. And so, you know, me just sticking to, our roots, and that's what I'm
Right.
used to. That's what I've known. That's pretty much, I wouldn't say like all I've ever known, but I mean, like, so just being able, I do a lot of pop shove its. That's like, I do a lot of combos involving them. And so, like, if I'm pop shoving it into something, like, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm on the tail now. I got to figure out how to get out of this,
Right, right, right.
And so, like, if I'm doing a pop shove it to a K grind, crooked grind, whatever, and like, I know that like now when I'm locking in, it's the exact same as the nose and the tail. It doesn't even matter. It's
Yeah.
going to feel the same every single time. It's really beneficial in my opinion.
So for my Sugar Mama mold, both of them, the V1 and V2, I have because it's not a symmetrical mold, the tail is a little bit less degree than the nose. But I do have a symmetrical shaper for them. So the shape is symmetrical,
Gotcha.
which almost gives the feel of a symmetrical, but all my molds, the tail is slightly less angle. Um, and I kind of I didn't know much about, like you said, what other people liked when I made the molds.
That's what's tough though, because even when I
But
had
yeah,
like my storefront and stuff, and I'm buying product to sell, thinking like these are what people like, it's hard shopping for other people. Like
right, right.
anybody
So
that's in the Christmas and the holidays and all that, they'll tell you that as well. Like it's
yeah,
a hard thing
it's
to do.
complicated.
Yeah, I know what I like, but like trying to figure out like who's gonna walk into my store and buy something, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, right. So when I designed the molds, it was kind of like what I think would be a good feeling board. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. It is the V1 and V2 Sugar Mama are great feeling boards, but not necessarily for everyone. But that's hard to do anyway. I don't think anybody's figured that out yet. So
No, I don't think anybody really has. Depending, I mean, people are gonna love your stuff, and there's gonna be people that are gonna be like, this stuff's okay. And
exactly,
that's
exactly.
that's literally, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're Black River, one of the top brands, or if you're just, someone like me and you kind of just starting out or whatever, but everybody's
Yeah,
gonna have their own opinion of it. So you can't make everybody happy. So do what makes
exactly.
you happy and roll with it.
Yeah, heck yeah,
All right, so you mentioned some team riders.
yeah. That goes way back too.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Who are these team riders and how they
So
get on the team?
the first team, I have two teams technically. The first team was built from the Unlimited group. It was people that just supported me that I got cool with over Messenger and just talking to them. It kind of what it the last thing that I looked for was actually shredding. But this was before I knew about having a team. I kind of just was like, oh, a brand has to have a team. I was just kind of jumping the gun on it. But it's
So you're talking
uh
about people that you met in the Facebook Unlimited group.
yes, sir. Yep.
So these are
Yep.
all
That
people that you've been interacting with and
right. When I first started,
okay.
when people that like first bought boards or people that just gave me feedback, um, I kind of just asked them, hey, you want to be a rider? You know, I was looking for five at the time. I was like, you want to, the five people that I messaged were obviously they were like, of course, you know, everybody wants to be a rider. So it was TJ
Okay.
Shabby.
Yeah.
I, I pronounce his name probably wrong, which is bad because he's one of my riders. But and then Hank Stacy. It's been a while. This is old team, but TJ and Hank are still involved. Chuck Brinkley, he kind of kind of disappeared, kind of, which there's no hate there. He kind of just his actual life took off. He kind of just fizzled out. And then Michael Young is another one that kind of just got busy with life. And then the final one was Marcus Kramer.
Okay.
He bought a board from me a long time ago. It wasn't like the first one, but it was right when I was starting out. And if you know Marcus, Marcus is pretty OG when it comes to
Yeah, me and
knowledge.
Marcus go way, way back. Actually, when I met
Okay.
you at the Port City Crew event, I crashed at his house.
Yeah, I crashed in his driveway. I don't know if you
Oh
knew that or
yeah, I
not.
remember that too. I
Yeah,
forgot. I was like, whose car is that? He's like, oh dude,
yeah,
that's Kaden. He's probably like crashed out. Yeah, I got off my flight and I didn't get over there till like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning or so. And like I was unloading the car and looked over and like there was a random car parked there. And he's like, oh yeah,
yeah.
it's
We,
Kaden.
I brought my buddy and we just passed out in the car because we drove there and we were whooped. And yeah, I passed out right in the driveway. It was hilarious.
Right
But
on. Shout out Marcus.
yeah, but Marcus, super knowledgeable guy when it comes to fingerboarding, and he knows stuff from way back. So when I made his board, he's actually the one who ordered the Element Wind Water Fire graphic back then, and I made it for him and I sent it to him, and he gave me a bunch of feedback. And I've always been pretty good at getting feedback. Like I don't take anything real hard. Like if you got feedback, tell me. If there's something you don't like, tell me. I'm pretty good about that. And Marcus, like I didn't round the edges super well back then. And Marcus was like, "Hey man, if you want to step your game up a little, why don't you round the edges?" So Marcus is pretty much the one who started me on that. And then other than that, like throughout from then to now, Marcus has always gave me great pointers, and so he's a big part of my quality control that's upgraded in the past few years. But
Yeah.
he was the final rider from that team before I really knew what I was doing, and I just got really cool with Marcus, and I was like, man, I want that guy on the team, man. Yeah. So I mean, technically, Hank and TJ and Marcus are still on the team, even though they do their own thing. Especially Marcus runs his own stuff now.
Yeah.
But if he hit me up and was like, "Yo, I need a board," I would send him one. No
No, of
questions
course.
asked.
Same here. It's one of my dudes for sure.
Yeah, and then now since I've grown in the Florida scene, I have three riders that are local. Um, Jake Romer, Romer.
Yeah.
Probably say that wrong too. He runs Big Dog FB. He's one of the riders. I met him through Yuck, and then working on Dying 10, which is Warren Anderson. He's another one, and then Burnt Bushings, which is Trey. Um, those are all homies that I met through Yuck, and I got super tight with them. All super cool dudes. I was just like, "Yo, man, you guys want to, or I want to start a local Florida team that I can actually shred with you guys, and we can make edits, and which we've been slacking on. But I just wanted something close to home instead of sponsoring people everywhere that can never really get together or anything. And I was like, you know what, it'd be cool to have an actual team that could post up at events together, and you could, maybe if you guys just want to sesh on the weekend, you can all meet up. So I did that. I started that, sponsored them guys, and now they're like, those are my homies, man. They're super cool, especially Jake. I talk to Jake every day pretty much. So I
I
started
feel
that, and
bad
that's
now. He sent me a Facebook friend invite, but I wasn't sure who he was, but I
oh
remember the
really?
name. Yeah, like probably like 2 weeks ago. So if you're listening to this, Jake, like my bad, dude. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to accept that for sure.
Yeah, he's a cool dude, and that dude is a shredder, dude. He he's got a lot of skill. He's too humble. Like if you tell him like, dude, you're so good, blah blah, blah, he'll be like, oh, I'm all right. Like he's way too humble. He's actually really good at it, and so is Warren, and so is Trey. They're that team right there is like my super skillful. They're all good at making edits. I wanted to step my game up with the team thing, so I chose people that I knew first of all that I was homies with, and then all their skills are just impressive. So I was like, yeah, man, if they're willing to hop on the team, I want these three guys. Yeah, they just accepted it, and they've been. I got signature graphics for them now. Trey has a signature mold, and so we still got a lot to do, obviously.
No, that's still awesome though. I mean, you got pro models, pro model
Yeah,
molds now, which is crazy. That's the first I've ever heard of. Like,
Yeah, I wanted I when he told me about that, like I wanted to his do his own specs. I was like, dude, that's genius because now you can if you are friends with Trey or Burnt Bushings and you want to support him through me, you can buy his mold, which
yeah,
is I would like to do that for each team member eventually.
no, that's ingenious because I've mentioned that on the podcast with, I think it's Ramon Angelo, his episode, because he's, the current, world champion and stuff. And I was
Yeah,
like, man, like Black River needs to create a mold out of your setup. Like they
right.
need to sell your set. Like I don't even know if if they offered a Ramon setup, trucks, wheels, deck shape, everything, like this is what he rides, I'd buy that just out of
Yeah, oh yeah.
curiosity. Like
Yep.
I'm like, they're dropping the ball tremendously on that because like having someone of that statue who has that skill set and has that marketability, and I'm confident like they would sell all those setups, all
Yeah,
those
I
completes
agree. I would buy one too.
yeah.
You know, he's so good. Like it just makes you think like if I buy that board, I'll be as good as him, you know? Like
Exactly. Like it goes back to that like everybody wants to be like Mike like type of deal. So
right,
we all
right,
bought the shoes
exactly.
hoping we can go play like him. And
Yeah.
it's like I still can't play like him. I've been buying his shoes for 20 years now, but
Yeah.
I'm still searching for it. I'm still searching for it.
That's right, exactly. So, but
So
yeah.
no, that's awesome. Like that's we talked about it, but you actually went out and did it. So that's crazy. So I would go out on a limb and probably say you're probably a first of like that kind
Well,
of
that's cool,
ordeal.
man.
Yeah.
I hope it starts a thing because it's cool and it also makes your rider feel more customized
Part of
and
the
part of the
company. And
team, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I was pretty excited. And really, like I said, it's actually been a big hit. Everyone that's used it, which I haven't had it for long, but everyone that's used it said it's an incredible mold. So that's good news.
No, I think you're onto something. So I think that if you got team riders and they have a specific mold and shape and style that they like, and I mean, obviously I'm not going to just like add a team rider and be like, oh yeah, you're 2 weeks on the team. What mold do you
Well,
like?
right,
But you know what I mean?
right,
But like,
right.
if it's definitely like, a homie that's been around for a couple years, something like that, and he's got a pretty interesting shape and it works and you think you might like it, like I think it's a great idea to start doing that
Yeah,
because normal sports like soccer, basketball, football, everybody's got a jersey, something that like showcases that they're like part of the team and you can still
yeah, oh
pick this
yeah.
up. Skaters, fingerboarders, we got pro models, but taking it to the next level and actually having like a signature mold is next level.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's I mean, I didn't know till just now. I mean, if I am being the only one, that's cool, man. I hope it starts like a trend and you know, it'll be more enticing for people to join teams and maybe put in a little bit more effort to maybe join a team or it gives you more what's the word? I guess enticing is what I can think of right now. It's just
Yeah, enticing, more of that Instagram clout, stuff like that. I got a feeling like once next year hits, like 2025, when USFBL goes back on the road and does all the touring for regionals and nationals, like I feel like all the winners for those, if their teams were smart about their riders and stuff, they'd start implementing some things like that for sure.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
next year, I mean, we're gonna be making some people stars. I mean, people very well recognized within the
Heck
community for
yeah.
their skill sets and stuff. And then we're sending 3 people to Germany to go compete in
Yeah,
fast
I
fingers.
just
So,
watched the 75th episode.
oh, right on.
I just watched that yesterday or maybe it was earlier today. I just watched it and heard that for the first time, and I was like, dude,
I know this game
that's
changer next
exciting.
level. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. So good for you on that. That's super cool.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be able to bless some really talented people in the community. So I'm excited to see how everything pans out, especially going into 2026 for that, Fast Fingers 22 event. And man, it's gonna get crazy.
Heck yeah.
It's gonna get crazy. All right, so I think that this is probably a good time to do the Listen to Win challenge.
All right.
All right, so Kaden here has a brand new graphic. He has All right, so this graphic, are we going to showcase the graphic?
Yeah, I'm gonna show it, and I'm. It's up to you.
All right, we're going to showcase the graphic, but
All
it's a brand new graphic. It hasn't been released yet, has it?
it is. It has been released, but not for a drop specifically. Um, I think only there's probably five maybe out in the wild.
So to me, that's pretty exclusive. So you're looking at a
Yeah.
very exclusive, very new graphic. So you're going to be able to win this graphic in the mold and shape of your choice. And Kaden came up with one of the craziest challenges I believe to ever happen on the Listen to Win on the podcast. So you want to tell him the challenge? You want me to tell him?
You tell him. Tell him.
All right. So Kaden is looking for the best flip trick to come from your mother. So we're looking for all the moms out there. If you got a mom, get her to do a flip trick, self-film it. We're looking for the best flip trick done by a mother. This is a who did it first. This is going to be who did it the
The
best.
best.
So contest is going to end 5 p.m. on Friday Eastern time. And if you don't have a mother, any old lady will do. So if you
Yeah, just
have
find a mother figure.
yeah, find a mother figure and pop shove its work. I want to say shove-its are going to count, but I prefer to get a little bit of air on those shove-its. But a pop shove-it will definitely count. Kick flips are better. Tray flips are even better too. So
Yeah.
if you got a mom that's got some skills and you're looking for a brand new graphic deck from your mom's favorite fingerboarder, this is your chance. This is your chance. So I'm excited to see what goes through the pipeline, to be honest with you. I think this will be fun. I think this is going to be one of
Yeah,
the
I
funner
think
challenges.
you said Friday, right? Is the
Yeah,
cutoff?
Friday. Yeah. So episode audio comes out Wednesday, video Thursday, contest ends Friday.
All right. So you got a few days to teach your mom how to do a trick. So
Exactly, exactly. And who knows, you might spark some new
yeah,
passion and then
yeah,
get you got,
yeah.
got a whole family function thing going on. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens.
Heck yeah, me too.
And if maybe she does it successfully, maybe she might get into it. The next thing you know, she won't nag you about spending so much money on it. Maybe she'd be
Yeah.
spending all the money on you. So who knows?
Heck yeah.
Big things could happen for you. Big things could happen.
Heck
All
yeah.
right. So I know you talked about an event coming up in March, but you got any other secrets, any projects you want to leak on the podcast?
Um, I think the event that I'm going to host in March is going to be the biggest news I got right now. Because I don't have really anything in the works, and like I said before, I'm kind of on a mental break. I haven't been doing much. Um, I do have some new graphics coming, but I say that, but I don't know when they're coming yet. But new graphics. I have an egg shape coming out. That's what's new. That's coming out very soon.
I like how you just casually talk about, I don't really got anything, but I do got this egg-shaped
Well,
like mold coming
that's
out. Like,
that's
okay,
actually that's in the book. Like the new graphics, there isn't really a set in stone date for the new graphics, but the next board drop that I'm doing is going to be the egg shape.
okay, okay.
So that's coming up hopefully within the next month or maybe two. But that's the new. And then the event I want this year, this March, to be even bigger than the last event. So but it's not even announced yet. I got Brandon Keller uh drawing me a flyer.
Oh yeah, he did mention he was doing graphics and stuff with you on the podcast as well. I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's done a lot for me. That is a really close buddy of mine. I love that guy.
Yeah, shout out to Brandon.
Shout out to Brandon Keller, Fidgety Digits.
Fidgety digits.
He he's drawing the next flyer for it, and it's super gnarly. I'm not going to explain that. That'll be for surprise. But
Okay.
um, that's going to be and I'll probably announce that within the next month or so, so people have a lot of time to plan. Because I would like to have as many people as I can show up to it. So I want to have plenty of time to plan it out for people and stuff. So
Gotcha. All right, so we're talking new graphics sometime in the future. We're
yeah,
talking an egg shape theoretically before the end of the year.
yeah, before the end of the year for sure.
And then you're talking about a new event in March. You got a lot of stuff going on for someone that doesn't have
Yeah, I
anything
try.
going on.
I try, yeah.
You're like, I don't really got much going on. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he starts naming off all this cool stuff. And I'm like, all right, dude, I got you.
I want to really start focusing on hosting events because I really like doing it.
They're a lot of fun. I love them.
They are, man. It's so cool to bring that many people together. So that's I'm really looking forward to it. So I can't wait to announce that. And
Right
maybe
on.
in the future we can talk about making a sanctioned event, UMF event.
I'm all about it. I'm all
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. Let's make it happen.
Heck yeah.
You have any hobbies, anything that people may not know about you besides fingerboarding?
Uh, Fingerboarding has pretty much taken over my life the past couple of years, so I don't do a whole lot. I like to go fishing um, in my spare time, which is super rare nowadays, but I like to go fishing when I can. Uh, I like to be involved in the water. I like to go swimming and go to the local Florida springs, stuff like that. Not really, man. I got two kids, two boys, and that are 4 and 6, and pretty much any other time that I have goes towards them. We play outside and
That's a prime fingerboarding starting age right there.
oh yeah, the older one, the 6 year old, he's slowly getting into it. And he can't do like anything uh on purpose technically, but he is learning
He's
the
getting there, the mechanics.
scoop and
Yeah,
flick. Yeah, so I'm super excited about that because when he's about if he sticks to it and when he gets to be about 8, he can start going to events and seeing the cool parks and whatnot. So
it's on like Donkey Kong.
that's right.
Touche. Okay. Well, I'm sure you got a nice little list of shout outs, people you want to give recognition to.
Yeah, I wrote down a bunch. I feel bad because there's probably so much more that I should have thought about. It's hard to think on the spot about who's helped me along the way and who's been there. But I do have a few here, and I'll read them off. And like I said, I apologize in advance if I miss anybody, but just know I uh I don't forget about anybody in the long term, but when it comes to thinking about them on the spot, I forget. So, all right, shout outs right here. I got Marcus Kramer is a huge one for me. Um, Became a really good buddy. Every event that I've gone to in North Carolina, he's offered for me to stay. I took my whole family, my girl and the kids with me the last time, and he offered to let us stay in the tiny house, which I didn't end up bombarding him with that. But he offered. He was super persistent on offering, so that was cool. So shout out Marcus. Brandon Keller is another one that has became a really really good friend, and it sucks that he lives so far away from here because I wish I could meet him in person, which one day we will. But that's another good buddy. He's done a lot of artwork for the brand, a lot, and there's still more coming. So um, shout out to Brandon, the team, both old and new. Um, Love all those guys. They're great guys. Yuck. I didn't mention, but I just got uh, 20 boards in Yuck not too long ago, and that's the first place I've distributed to. Um, so shout out to Yuck for giving me that opportunity. And Indy's a cool guy for hosting local events. So big shout out to him for giving me a chance. Michael over at Milk, um, super inspiring dude. Uh, I keep tabs on everything he's doing because we started about at the same time, and he took off. Man, he's just super inspiring. Like just shout out to Michael. He's a super cool guy, and I got the chance to meet him in North Carolina. So super cool to shake his hand. Um, so shout out to Milk, shout out to Michael. Bloob, Bloob Fingerboards. He is the one who taught me about RealWear, what machine to use. He actually sent. I still have some thick batch of RealWear graphics that were his old ones. He sent me a bunch of them to practice with, and that's how I learned how to do RealWear. So shout out to him for all the pointers, and really he still gives me pointers. So shout out to Jamie at Blue for that. Um, Loose Nut Fingerboards. His name's Chris. I met him at the last Fingerboard Jam. We've gotten super cool. Just a super cool guy. We got a collab coming out soon. We actually sold some at the event, but we didn't announce it. So eventually we're gonna do an announcement for it and sell it online. So Loose Nut UMF collab coming soon. But shout out to him. Josh Stovetop, who rides for Loose Nut, super good friend. He's supported me literally since the day I started. Um, Still talk to him when I can. We don't talk as much as we used to, but still a good buddy of mine. Looking forward to meeting him in person one day. TJ, one of my riders, he's awesome, super cool guy. Hank, same, another rider. I wrote my team and then wrote all their names, but the team, shout out to all them. My girlfriend, super supportive. She let me waste all this money on a shed, and she supports everything I do, which is cool. Um, Obviously, my mom and my dad. My dad is super, super cool old man. Uh, he loves the fingerboarding stuff. He is actually making a pool for me right now for my next event. Um, a two-part shallow end, deep end, like figure eight pool thing. Um, he just called me yesterday and he's like, "Yo, I just cut up this piece of styrofoam. I'm making a pool, gonna concrete it and everything." So shout out to my dad for just being so involved. He was at the event that I hosted here and he helped a ton. So shout out to him. And then I wrote here, sorry, I forgot, but everyone who supported me from the beginning and continues to support. So if I missed anybody, I thank everybody. Um, that keeps me going. So, and thank you for this, by the way. Um, I was super nervous, but you made this super easy. So thank you for that. And this was a great opportunity. And thanks for letting me get to speak on it. It's super fun.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad that you got to come on here and kind of shine a light on some of the cool stuff that you got going on and what you've done.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And you too, man. You're killing it, dude. You've done a lot and you're doing a lot all the time. And maybe one day you can make it to one of my little events.
I
We can hang
appreciate it.
out.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely mark the calendar. I got, man, 2025 is almost around the corner, so it's a matter of
Yeah.
just kind of figuring out who's doing what and kind of making it out and checking things out. So,
Yeah, heck yeah.
but yeah, if you have dates and stuff like that, definitely shoot all that stuff my way, and I'll
I
try to figure
will.
out a way to make it down for sure.
I'm gonna get that flyer made within the next week or two. And then before I post it, I will reach out to people and let people
Well,
know what's going on.
well, I'm excited. I'm excited. I got a few shout outs and stuff as well. First off, if you're a Patreon subscriber, thank you, thank you, thank you for all the love and support and catching this on as early access, getting this before everybody else. If you are have not submitted your USFBL like combo of the year clip or line of the year clip, do it now. Still got a little bit of time. Got about 4 or 5 weeks before the contest ends. We're giving out $1,000 in cash and prizes. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there. And then we've got some projects that we're getting ready to leak here pretty soon as well. Some really, really large projects. So I'm excited to kind of tease that a little bit. And of course, we're going to be launching tour dates here pretty shortly, here in about 2, 3 weeks when this podcast drops. So got a lot of cool stuff out there for sure. And of course, everybody that supported me along the way, all the fans, everybody that's helped me on the tour, like got a lot of love out there. So I appreciate everybody's time. Kaden, where can people find you on the internet? What socials are you on?
So Instagram is the what I use the most, which is your mom's fave fingerboards on Instagram. Um, it's easier to get a hold of me on there. DM, I answer quicker on that. So that's the main go-to. And then I have a Facebook page, which is your mom's fave FB fingerboards, which I messed up on that name, but that's just what it is now. So that's a fake Facebook page, and then just Kaden Overholt in the Facebook group, Unlimited, and all the other ones that I'm in. Um, I have a YouTube, but I don't really use it. So that's basically it. But for the most part, Instagram at your mom's favorite fingerboards.
All right, so Instagram's where they can find you. You need to jumpstart that YouTube channel back up.
I've got a couple little things posted. I think there's a team edit on there, and then a little edit that I made myself a while ago. Um, it's just hard to keep up. I don't know how you guys do it. Keep up with all the platforms.
Dude, it's
It's a
hard. I'm not gonna
lot.
lie. It
Yeah.
consumes my entire life.
it's a lot of work. So I give credit to all the YouTube creators and TikTok creators. I have a TikTok too, and I tried to stay consistent on that when I was first starting out. And it's hard to be a content creator. That's harder to me than making product. It's making content is hard.
It is hard. I think once you do it more, you'll get used to it and it becomes
True.
more uniformed. But it's it'll definitely grow your brand extremely quick if once you learn how to
Yeah,
start making more TikToks, more YouTubes, things like that. But we're gonna save that for a whole nother podcast.
that's right.
Till next time.
Thank you, bro.
Rolling through the concrete chaos, I'm alive. With my fingerboard, I'm ready to dive. Pushing limits, flipping tricks high in the sky. Every sliding grind, I'm chasing that high. Feel the rhythm, let it flow. Fingerboarding, let's steal the show. Fingerboarding, I'm flying free. With every flick, I'll write my story. On this board, I'm never alone. In the skate park, I found my home. Grip take tight, I'm soaring like a bird. Every trick a story, every slide a word. Grinding on the edge, I'm breaking the mold. Fingerboarding dreams worth the weight in gold. Hear the wheels as they scream in this fingerboarding dream. Fingerboarding, I'm flying free. With every flick, I'll write my story. On this board, I'm never alone. In the skate park, I found my home. Hear the wheels as they scream in this fingerboarding dream.